Hello, Jackie Beatrice Blakely, grad student, Master of Science in Marketing, and the session I'm chatting about today, or right now, is Amy Webb launches 2024 Emerging Tech Trend Report. The whole session was by Amy Webb. She is the CEO of Future Today Institute. This was crazy. It was obviously a very popular session because everybody wants to know what's coming up next. But knowing that that Future Today Institute does so much research on these trends and dives deep into really what will be shaping the future was so interesting to hear. I wouldn't say that it was super surprising stuff, but Amy's take on it and kind of vision for the future was really interesting and genuinely a little scary. So she basically talks about that we're in a tech super cycle. So this extended period of booming demand that elevates prices and assets to unprecedented heights. And this is really all happening because of certain areas of tech. She also mentioned that, and I liked this, that we are Gen T. We're the generation of transition. Everyone after us will look and feel very different about tech because we're living in this time of transition, of tech transition, whereas people born now are not going to know things different. I remember playing my games at my desktop computer and having to turn it on as a little kid, and there were no cell phones, and we still had a car phone in one of our cars and things like that. And it's changed so quickly that in such a short period of time, it's such a clear line is what I'm trying to say, that some people know what used to be and some people have not a singular clue of almost how to wrap their head around a world that isn't so technology driven. Anyways, going back to the tech super cycle. So the tech super cycle is made up of 3 general technologies based on Amy's trend report. The first is artificial intelligence, and that, she said, is really the foundation of the tech super cycle, which makes sense, obviously. But then she kind of broke it out into trends. And so the first trend that she talked about is accountability. And this idea of we are so focused on making the AI faster, better, blah, blah, but we're not focused enough on the accountability side of AI and working on that part, which I thought was interesting. And I like that she called that out, honestly, because it's like a race to get the best AI out there and get everyone using it and great stuff, but we aren't doing it in the best way possible. Look at, basically she was saying for some of the models you can put in CEO of blah blah company and it always pulls up a man, even when you're putting in CEO of a tampon company and it's just more of a hippie man, always usually white, also more of a hippie man but with tampon art in the background, which I thought was funny. And then you look at Google, and Google's AI basically couldn't even generate a white person because they overcorrected the problem. So we're just in this very weird space where people want the technology to be so good, but they aren't actually making it, they're not taking accountability for where it's going wrong. She goes into a bunch of other things too, which for the sake of time, because I'm already at 4.5 minutes, I won't go in on AI, but AI is the engine of everything, or is the everything engine, she said. And I couldn't agree more. The second technology in the super cycle is the connected ecosystem of things. And I loved this portion because I remember when I started the program in digital strategies, we talked about the Internet of Things, and I had never like I had never heard of that term before. And this is really that, right? It's like all of this AI, what did she say? She said, so AI is based on, like, is made, and large language models are run on data, but we don't have the right data anymore for where we want to go. What we need is like real time data on everything that we do every day, what our lives are like, and how to reduce that basically to something a computer can understand. And so that's where connectables come in. And we're seeing that more and more, right? With my Aura ring, with, I'm not wearing it right now, but my Apple Watch, and usually I'll wear both together. So many things. The idea of a face computer, I absolutely despise, but I know that that's going to happen. She did talk about something that was like, to me, which was that essentially people are going to be working on a technology where if your pupils dilate when you feel any type of emotion, right? And so we obviously do with any decision that we make. We just don't recognize that change. But computers are being trained to see, especially like these face computers are being trained to try and detect those tiny differences in your pupils to almost predict what you need or what you're thinking or what you're feeling before you might even realize it, which scares me so much, because that is then where I'm like, well, then how do you stop the computer if it decides to take over the world? Because it's going to know what you're thinking before you even think it. So anyways, I thought that was fascinating. And then the third part of the tech super cycle is biotech, which I'm really not well versed in. And she was going into lots of stuff with generative biology and where's the word that she used? Like organoid. It's in my notes, but like organoid stuff. Fascinating. I don't know enough about that. It scares me to think that tech can really be at the intersection of this. But also I think maybe it is the future if we do it correctly. That's a huge if, right? Because we don't always take accountability as we should. So anyways, I thought, so this idea of all three of those coming together, AI, connectables, and biotech, is really where she sees the future going. I thought it was so fascinating. She did also close out with quite a few tips on how businesses should move forward, which I liked that she ended with that, because people are so scared of this huge transition that we're about to embark on. And the main ones that I'll, in the interest of time, I'll touch upon really quickly, but establish a department of transition. I like that. So like, this isn't just guesswork. We really need to do the work into figuring out how this transition is going to go down. And then I loved this one, create a hospice for business and be prepared for that. So plan for the fields where humans will absolutely be needed, like plumbers, blah, 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 and value those fields. Four-year colleges might be a thing of the past as we keep moving forward, especially with technology moving into so many of these different areas. Anyways, it was really fascinating. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, as a marketer, we need to know how to use these tools, and we need to know how to lean into them in a responsible way. So I just thought it was cool. It was like peeking into the future of what we might be in for. So definitely recommend going to her talks in the future.